Good evening, good evening. It's another exciting evening of Kuiper Cat's astronomy. So I posted a quick video just before this. The weather has turned to absolute garbage, unfortunately. So what you're seeing right now is the moon covered by a bunch of clouds and a bunch of haze. Um, it's just, it's just summer in the city, right? So we're going to make the best of a bad situation and just observe the moon tonight. Unfortunately, it is not clear enough to get any kind of comet action. I do apologize. I had so many high hopes for the weather this evening. Earlier in the week, of course, I had so many high hopes for the weather. I was really hoping, like, oh man, I'll get the comet. I'll be able to showcase whatever we can see because it's moving away from Earth. It made its closest approach on Wednesday, so now it's officially moving away from Earth, and it's going to get dimmer and dimmer and dimmer as it moves away. But I had every intention of making that happen, and then the weather, of course, did not cooperate. But then again, that's just the life of an astronomer, truly. So we're just gonna look at the moon tonight. As you can see, we are getting some very thick, very, very thick, muggy clouds passing in front. I am going to do my best to try to resolve the image. I can't do anything about the clouds, but I can try to work on some of the distortion. So yeah, so this is unfortunately the only thing I have showcased for tonight, just because the weather is so terrible. I can't even pick out some of the other brighter night sky objects like Arcturus or Vega or anything like that. This is this is it. I'm hoping there is like a little bit of a break kind of to the west, and I'm hoping that moves in this direction. But so far, everything looks just like really stagnant and still, like nothing's moving. So I did want to talk a little bit about something that has been annoying me over the last few weeks. A lot of folks that inquire about the stargazing events, sometimes they see them on Facebook. They see the event posted on Facebook, and they will, maybe they don't necessarily have an Instagram account right away, or they don't know that it's on Instagram Live. And unfortunately, there are a bunch of spam bots that end up spamming the comments with these third-party links. Please, I am begging you all, do not click any of these links. The events are hosted exclusively on Instagram Live. That is not set to change anytime this year. So for the rest of 2020, Instagram Live will be the only medium where this is happening in real time. You will never need to pay for an event. All of my events are free, even when they are in person, unless it's at maybe a museum or something, and that's, maybe there was an admission fee to the museum. Anything that I do with astronomy, stargazing, sidewalk astronomy, all of it is free of charge. There has been and never will be a fee for this. So I just want to make sure that everyone is aware that there are people that are trying to scam you out of your money or your information exclusively on Facebook. But I'll more than likely make some kind of banner, some informational banner, just to try to clear the air and make it more permanent for people to know where to find all of these events. So I just wanted to put that out there. All the events are free. You never need to give me money. If you see me out in the street, social distancing aside, if you see me out in the street, you're more than welcome to walk up to the telescope and have a peek. So I just wanted to put that out there. So that said, we are not going to be seeing Comet Neowise tonight. It's just not possible at this time because of the clouds and the haze over New York City. I definitely encourage you to look up as many photos and videos as you can right now, because as Neowise is moving away from the Earth, it's going to become dimmer and dimmer. I believe the United Astronomy Clubs of New Jersey, or UACNJ, as they are known on Instagram, just started a live video. I don't know what they are observing tonight, but if they happen to be observing the comet, I would absolutely tell you to shoot on over to their Instagram page and check out their live stream, just in case they happen to be looking at the comet. So again, that's UACNJ, United Astronomy Clubs of New Jersey. They're some of the most knowledgeable people I've ever met, and they're a lot of fun. And if you happen to be in the tri-state area and you want to go to an observatory, right now they're taking it by reservation, but you can visit them on Saturday nights with a reservation. So I definitely encourage you to check them out, especially right now since they are having a live stream. And their weather is probably better than mine. So right now we are just looking at the moon. This is the only object we will be observing tonight. So because of that, if anybody wants to throw any questions my way, or if anybody wants to discuss maybe telescopes or perhaps our upcoming mission to Mars, we have our Perseverance rover that's set to launch on July 30th. And that's going to take, that should arrive to Mars probably by mid to late February. And it has a nice little stowaway on board that I'm especially excited about. I am especially excited about this. It is the Ingenuity Chopper. We are going to fly a helicopter on Mars, and it's going to be amazing. I personally can't wait. Not to say that I'm not excited about Perseverance, but we've had rovers on the surface of Mars for a few decades now, and it's just fun and cool to think about. It's fun and cool to think about helicopters flying on another planet, and they're there because of us. So I definitely encourage you to follow along. It's mars.nasa.gov for all of the festivities. They will have live talks and videos, and the launch is scheduled, weather permitting, of course, for July 30th at about 7 a.m. or just after 7 a.m. So hopefully that doesn't get scrubbed. And then another amazing thing is happening a few days after that. Our Crew Dragon astronauts are set to come home. Doug Henley and Bob Behnken are set to come home on August 2nd. So that's also very exciting. There's a lot going on in the last week of July, first week of August, and I can't wait for it all to happen. I will say this one thing. I kind of wish I came out with a bottle of water. I did not do that. I did not have the foresight for that. So I tried to zoom in just a little bit. I'm going to try to make this a little less blurry. Now the haze that you're seeing is just cloud cover. It looks like I might get a little bit of a break in a few minutes. But we'll see. Hopefully it'll clear up enough that I can get a nice clean shot of the moon. Thank you. Right now I came out with the smaller telescope. It's a little too hot to carry the Celestron 6-inch. So I'm going to try to just clean that up just a little bit more. And this is as zoomed in as I can get, just so in case anybody asks. This is as zoomed in as I can get. And that's actually because of two reasons. One, as you start to bring that image in, New Jersey. Okay, all right. So, all right, UACNJ, they're doing the moon as well, but they're They have much nicer telescopes than I do. um, Hopefully their weather improves as well. UAC and J, if you're watching, hi Matt, hi Chris, hi Ken, hi Diane. Um, so hopefully some of these clouds will kind of clear in a few minutes, and we'll get a nicer, cleaner image. So we're not super zoomed in on the moon for two reasons. The first reason, of course, is because when you enhance an image or you zoom in on an image, you start to lose some of those details a little bit, especially if you have a lower power telescope. And you start to lose just a lot of that image. But the second reason why we're not zoomed in is because the cell phone mount that I'm using is not very low power eyepiece friendly, so I can't zoom in too much to get a better view. This telescope that I'm using is a Celestron 90 SLT, and so it's my baby. It's my go-to. And congratulations, Reggie, on your first telescope. I am so excited for you to start your journey, because there's, how some folks, like, you have like your sneakerhead folks, and you have folks that maybe collect just like anything. That's how telescopes, like, that's how astronomy is for me in terms of equipment. So as soon as I play with something that's super cool, I, not that I immediately want it, but I definitely do my best to try to interact with it as much as possible and hopefully buy it. But yeah, it's an addiction. Like, you're gonna have so much fun with it. And then honestly, like, learning is like half of the fun for me anyway. So good luck with the telescope. I hope you have tons of fun. I hope you take tons of images. Definitely invest in a cell phone adapter to mount onto the telescope so that you can use your phone to take snaps. You're gonna love it. Absolutely. Congratulations. Hey, Salem, New Hampshire, what's going on? I hope your weather's better than ours. Sorry, all the wiggling, that's me. I'm just trying to make some minor adjustments here. Oh, Bushnell's very nice. Ooh, so by default, I would have to recommend the Celestron Next YZ. And the reason why is most cell phone mounts give you that X and Y axis, but they don't give you Z axis to adjust. So the Z axis, I think, is really important, especially if you have like a super large phone that happens to have kind of a large camera on the back. So the iPhone cameras, if you have an iPhone, they come with kind of that little bump, and they're not really flush to the phone. And the Z knob of the Next YZ really helps with that. So I just happen to, like, I use it. It works great. So that, just by default, I would recommend the Next YZ from Celestron. But I know Mead and Orion, I know they make their own. But as far as, testing, this is the one that I enjoy the most. Are people still doing fireworks? That's crazy. It is way too late. Or too early, depending on how you look at it. So there's still just a little bit of haze. It looks like we're gonna get a break. I'm very excited. Now, this is, of course, a break to see some of the brighter night sky objects. This is not a break to see Comet Neowise. I really apologize. Neowise is just too dim to catch in the telescope. I really wanted to do that this evening so bad. but you should still be able to see it for a few more nights as it moves away from Earth, especially if you have binoculars. It's so much easier to do with binoculars than it is with a telescope. If you have a very large telescope, like maybe a 10-inch telescope, you could give it a go. But it's easier with binoculars. It's you can move along with the comet, and you should be able to see a little bit of the tail depending on where you are and depending on how dark it is, of course. So you have to factor in light pollution, you have to factor in haze and humidity, and of course, even with low power binoculars, you should be able to spot it depending on where you are. Unfortunately, tonight is just not going to be that night, and I really wanted it to be. Has anybody on the live stream had a chance to see Comet Neowise for themselves? Comes around once every 6,800 years. If you get a chance, oh, good job, Lori. If you have an opportunity, just for the next few nights, because we'll still be able to see it, probably for the next week or so. At that point, it might be too dim. From your bedroom window, that's awesome. Good job. That's it. The comet came to you. So yeah, if you get an opportunity within the next week to catch it, I definitely encourage you to go out anytime after 9:30 p.m. when it's nice and dark. Should be good. And then of course, a little bit later in the night, going into 10:30. As it starts to become more dark, you'll be able to pick up just a little bit more detail. And of course, that's weather permitting. And that is also, oh, take care, Redshift. That's weather permitting, and that is also light pollution permitting. So if you live in a very, very light polluted area, such as New York City, it might be very hard for you to catch it. But if you live, maybe in just thinking about the tri-state area, if you live, closer to, let's say if you live closer to Coney Island, or or just along the water, or if you live somewhere out in Long Island, or if you live maybe in Westchester or Yonkers, you'll be able to catch it much, much better. Nice, good job, Becky. I caught it twice, and I was very excited. The first time I was definitely more excited to see it, just because it was so like surprise, spur of the moment. I wasn't expecting to see it, and then when I did, I let out a lot of expletives around 4:30 in the morning. It was a little too loud and a little too early in the morning for such excitement, and I apologize if my neighbors heard me. But I was very excited that day, and then I caught it a few days ago. Actually, I believe it was Monday, and I posted those images on Instagram. They weren't very good images for that second viewing, but I was still very excited. Will I have another event? Yes. I try to do these events every 2 weeks or so, weather permitting, of course, and then of course my personal schedule permitting. So I try to do these every 2 weeks. Am I able to see a meteor right now? No, not exactly. I can look at our moon, but if you mean Comet Neowise, I won't be able to view that right now. Halley's Comet. I was alive for Halley's Comet, but I was way too young to remember anything about it. I believe the last comet I saw prior to Neowise was Comet Lovejoy, and that was, I believe, 2014. 2014, 2013. I'm having a hard time placing the date, but it was Comet Lovejoy. That was also very nice, but it wasn't as bright as Comet Neowise. Comet Neowise, kind of, in terms of the brightness and just how long the tail was, and in some instances you were able to see the ion tail. Comet Neowise just came out of left field with how amazing it ended up being. And I think that's why everyone was so excited. If you remember a few years ago when everyone was super excited about Comet Ison, and then Comet Ison broke up as it was getting closer to the sun and it made that orbit. This was around Thanksgiving 2014 or 2015. It didn't pan out, unfortunately. But this one did, and that's why it was so exciting. All right, so we have some more clouds passing in front. It's such a shame. Like, there's a really good break just above where the moon is right now in terms of clouds, and I want that break to, make it to the moon, so we can have a cleaner shot, if you will. Really hoping this weather cooperates, at least for the rest of the night. I've seen the pictures of Comet Hale-Bopp, and that was absolutely gorgeous. So hopefully soon we'll get a little bit of a break. I would hate to have to end the stream and we don't get a break. That would be a really huge disappointment. I don't think I'm gonna get lucky tonight with these clouds, unfortunately. It is just a super thick band. Yeah, that's all cloud cover. I can't do much about the clouds. My focuser knob does not give me that ability. It does give it a kind of a cool effect. Especially when the moon is setting. In some cases, you might see that atmospheric glow, and it looks absolutely gorgeous. And it gives the moon kind of this nice red color. Yes, I am using my cell phone on my eyepiece. So when I do these live streams, I use my iPhone with a Celestron XYZ adapter, and I just mount it to the eyepiece. So that is exclusively how I do any of these live streams that you happen to catch. I don't have a camera. I am slowly saving up for one. But right now it is all just cell phone to eyepiece. Thank you. Yeah, it's so good. I just find it, I find the ability to change as many of the axes as possible. I find that to be such a huge help, especially for stuff like this. And then, when I'm doing my little bit of astrophotography with my phone, it helps as well. Of course, I still have to kind of do Photoshop. Hey, UACNJ, I was talking about you earlier because I knew you guys were doing your live stream. When I have to do any kind of editing, I use Photoshop Express on the phone. But I get pretty decent images with my larger telescope. With this one, it's kind of hard just because it's so small. Can I see Jupiter? No. Jupiter is completely covered by this thick cloud mess in the east. There's no way I'm going to catch Jupiter right now. Oh, sorry about that. I moved it a little too much. There we go. All right. So it's almost there in terms of getting rid of this cloud. Like, it's moving in the direction I want it to move, but it's moving so slow. Oh man. I have to get back out to Jenny Jump. I've seen the photos for Comet Shoemaker too. Those are really good. It's I a little bit think it's kind of a shame. Oh, and you can see those clouds moving in front of the phone, or yeah, on your screen. You should be able to see them moving in front of the moon pretty thickly now. I think it's a little bit of a shame. I sort of got into astronomy um, late in my life, if you could say that. In my late 20s. And so I have no memories of Shoemaker or Hale Bopp or anything. And I was definitely old enough to have seen it and remember it. But I never, I loved space, but I didn't have the equipment to, do what I do now. So, but now I can. Yes, this is the moon right now. And so you saw a little bit of those thicker clouds kind of passing in front, but it's starting to clear up just a little bit more now. Oh, a 10-inch? Oh my gosh. A 10-inch reflector telescope. That's gorgeous. The telescope that I am currently using is a Celestron 90 SLT. It's I think a 3.5-inch aperture. And I love it. It's super lightweight. I can put it in a backpack and take it to go. And it's definitely the easiest telescope that I have right now. Oh, you're very welcome. All right, so now we're clearing up. Now we're getting better. It's still a little hazy, but the clouds have cleared up just a little bit more. That they shouldn't hopefully be a problem for the rest of the stream. Let's see if I can bring that in just a little bit more for you all. Yeah, it's super back ordered. I think if this one broke, I would be up a creek. I wouldn't know what to do. This telescope, the 90 SLT, price is priced at about $400. Yeah, about $400 before tax. It depends on what vendor you go to, of course. I would always recommend going straight to Celestron. Also, Amazon, if you have a photography store near you, you should be able to see if they have telescopes. Can I see the sun setting? No, the sun is already set. The sun set just before 9 p.m. Yeah, the sun is already gone. Oops, sorry about that. I bonked it with my phone. There we go. No, see, and that's the thing. A lot of people, of course, a lot of people think, oh, the telescopes are so pricey, and they can be, but not always. Telescopes, if you wanted to get like a really huge one, of course, you're looking, closer to $1,000. But for something, that's kind of small, but I mean, um, you can clearly see, the images are pretty good with the 3.5 inch, the 90 millimeter. They're not that expensive, and I always tell people it is the cost. It costs less than an iPhone, or it costs less than even an iPad. Um, it's super for what it can do. It's super inexpensive. Now, here's the rub. You have to factor in the cost of a battery. You have to factor in the cost of eyepieces. Now, of course, the telescope comes with two, but if you wanted to, get more eyepieces, or if you wanted to get filters, um, that's where you start. When you start to add accessories, that's when things start to climb in price. Let's see if I can type. It's going to vibrate just a little bit as whoop. All right, so I'm putting it in the chat now. The Celestron 90 SLT. That is the name of the telescope. We got a little bit of haze, and it looks like some clouds are starting to approach. An Orion telescope, what kind? I believe you mentioned it, but I just want to double check. Let's try to focus that up a little bit. With this telescope, on a better night, you can see Jupiter and Saturn. Tonight is unfortunately not that night. There are some very, very thick, it's just absolutely soup is what I like to refer to it as. Very thick cloud bands to the east. Unfortunately, Jupiter and Saturn will not be visible to me tonight. Looking west, I'm able to get the moon, of course, because it's very large, very bright, but there are some cloud breaks toward the west. Yeah. That's a little bit of NYC flavor. A little bachata in the background. It's a nice chill Saturday night. I have no filters on the eyepiece right now. So this is just the moon with the cell phone mounted to the eyepiece. Oh, you're very welcome. I try to be as helpful as possible. I have seen Venus with this telescope. Venus through the 90 millimeter is it's cool to look at, but you can't get any details. There are some clouds. You can't get any real detail. If you were maybe looking at it with a larger telescope, maybe 6 inches or more, that's when you can start to see some of that shifting, that phasing. But with the 90 millimeter, it's kind of hard, honestly. I am in New York City. Oh, okay. 80 millimeter. All right, nice. Hey, Spicy Burrito, what's going on? Yeah, these clouds are killing me. There's just this one cloud, this one cloud band that's almost like pencil shaped, and it's going right in front of the moon, as you can tell. We are looking at the moon right now. We're trying these clouds. I don't know. I know, I feel like it is. All day the weather was kind of iffy, and I kept looking outside. I'm gonna try to bring it into the center there for a second. I was looking outside and I was like, oh man, I don't know. It looks awful. And then around 6 p.m. it looked great. 6 p.m. there wasn't a cloud in the sky. It was a bright blue day, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is fantastic. This is going to work. And then around 7:30 it became completely overcast, And I said, all right, well, I already said I was coming out, so we'll find something to look at. And oh, thankfully, it cleared up enough that we can at least get the moon. The alternative plan was to set up and then maybe just look into Manhattan. That would have been the alternative plan. Because thankfully, the area where I'm at, I'm on the East River, and we have like a nice view of the city. So, no, I'm near a restaurant actually. Oh wow, really? All clouded out in Colorado? Boo, boo clouds. No, I'm near a restaurant, and with New York City, right now we're doing the outdoor dining because we're in phase 3, I believe, and so outdoor dining is allowed. So of course it's a nice night. Everyone is doing the social distance thing, and they're eating outside, but we're trying to keep it as safe as possible here. But usually I don't have any music playing in the background, so tonight I'm actually kind of glad that the restaurant near me is set up outside. So I'm very excited about that. Actually, it kind of adds a new spice, a new flavor to the live stream that I typically don't have. Do you have to go any specific place? No, not at all. If it's nighttime and the moon just happens to be out, if it's a waxing moon, you should be able to see it as long as the skies are clear. If it's a waning moon, the moon will be out, of course, a little bit later, and you may have to wait a little bit longer to catch it. But while it's waxing, as long as it's in first quarter or just before full moon, you should be able to get it, a little bit before. Or after sunset, or even during the day, you'll be able to see it. I was able to see the moon at 6 p.m. today when I stepped outside to check on the weather. Oh, you're very welcome. And I've never been to Miami. It's on my to-do list, though. Hi, Pamela. Long time no see. Pamela, in the live stream right now, has come to all of the in-person events. And I miss doing the in-person events. I just, unfortunately, it's not safe right now. So this is the next best thing. And now everybody gets to see it. So I'm very excited about that. And now it looks like we're going to have an official break in the clouds for some time now. There doesn't look like there are any more clouds headed this way. Fingers crossed. I probably jinxed it now, but my one concern about the music playing in the background is I don't want Instagram to flag the video just because there's music playing in the background. I'm very aware that it is not my music. I did not produce, write, or sing any of the songs. So I do just want to, if that has to be said in the stream so that this way they don't flag the audio, then fine. The moon should be out in Miami. The moon should be out right now. It's 9:34 there. So you should, as long as the weather is good, you should be able to look west and you should catch it. It's still pretty high in the sky, too. Yeah, everything's virtual nowadays, and I don't mind in the least. I think it's great. I like the idea of virtual star parties or virtual just anything, classes or work, just for the accessibility aspect of it, especially if, for those that even pre-COVID, that maybe they had a hard time, mobility issues, had a hard time leaving the house. This just makes it more accessible to everyone. I honestly, I kind of kick myself a little bit for not doing this sooner, just because I try to make things as accessible as possible when I'm out in the field. So even once, hopefully, down the line, if COVID becomes a thing of the past, I will continue to do this because I think it's great. So this isn't just going to be while we're going through this together. This is going to be a now permanent fixture. So I'll try to do this at least once a month minimum, but right now I'm doing it every other week. Which iPhone is this? This is the iPhone XR. Exactly. It's a whole new outlook on how to do outreach, and it's forced us to kind of take new approaches to things. But I love it. I think it's great. I love that we've all kind of had our own light bulb version, or our own light bulb in our head, saying, all right, I know how I can do this virtually, and everyone can still participate. It's great. Okay, so we're going to run into a little bit of a problem, and this time it's not clouds. This time it is a power line in the way. So I may need to make an adjustment to the telescope. This is going to require that I pick up the telescope and move it. So bear with me while I carry this bad boy and make those adjustments now. It'll be just a moment. Okay, let's see what I can get done here. So you guys are going to see my eyebrows for a few seconds. Least amount of motion possible. Whew. It'll be just a second. Let's see here. I'm going to do a whole new alignment. It happens. I apologize, I am not looking at my phone right now to see any comments that may be coming through while I make this adjustment here. Okay, there we go. Just gotta tweak that a little bit. Oh, I am so sorry, dancing around here. So I had to move just a little bit because of the power lines that were in the way, and then as soon as I moved, I got hit with some clouds. Of course, because why not? So we'll just wait for that cloud to pass, and then we'll get started again. Let me head on back through the see. Okay, so how is the phone connected to the telescope? I have a cell phone adapter called a Celestron Nex YZ that I was given, and that's how I'm able to hook up the phone to the telescope eyepiece. You can, if you have just a regular camera that you have set up to take photos, yeah, I mean, depending on whatever lens you attach to the camera, you should be able to get photos of the moon like this. Whoops. Let's see. All right, there we go. Okay, so the clouds are starting to move some more. And we are back in business just a little bit. Yes, Adorama is the place to go. Trust me. That's actually where I purchased this telescope. It was from Adorama. All right. So now let's see if I can bring this in just a little bit more. Hopefully, sorry about all the vibration, guys. That's me grabbing the remote and making adjustments and trying to bring the image into focus just a little bit after fighting with those clouds and then needing to move. Whew. So I'm in New York City, and I a little bit want this on the record. You can do astronomy from New York City. It is hard, but you can get it done. The moon is, of course, an easy target, but you are able to view stars in New York City. You are able to view planets in New York City. It's not impossible. It's challenging, but it's not impossible. Even with all the light pollution out here, you can get it done. I wish Jupiter and Saturn were visible right now, but the haze and the humidity is not going to allow that to happen tonight. At least for the next 2 hours or so. I really hope that it clears up later on in the evening. The moon does have a bright spot. I'm pretty sure that's the white balance on the phone. The white balance on the phone is crazy right now. Oof. There we go. So if you go through my Instagram history, I did have a live stream for Jupiter and Saturn 2 weeks ago when the weather was much better. It should be somewhere in the history. But Jupiter and Saturn is out right now. If you are on the East Coast, it's 9:43 p.m. and if looking east, moving south, you should be able to see it. Jupiter is very, very bright and very, very large in the night sky, so it should be completely visible. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I do these live streams just about every 2 weeks or so. Weather permitting, of course, and with my own personal schedule permitting, I try to do them every 2 weeks. I wish I knew where exactly I was in the live stream. I know it's almost an hour, so they're gonna kick me off. Yeah, the iPhone XR has a surprisingly good camera. It's not great. For some photos, I use the Nightcap app, but all things considered, it has a pretty good camera, especially for this. Yes. Yeah, it's going to look like a large star. Jupiter, of course, because it's a gas giant, it's largest in the solar system, it reflects all of that sunlight. So it just looks like a giant star. But, of course, when you think about stars, think about a twinkle, twinkle, little star. So if it's twinkling, if you're ever out and you're not sure about what you're looking at, if it's twinkling, it's a star. But if it's a steady light, like how Jupiter looks right now, it's a planet. So if you're out right now and you're looking at the moon, if you're out and you're looking at the moon right now, the moon should be toward the west. If you look up above that, kind of diagonal, you should see a bright red star, and that star is Arcturus. That star would be twinkling right now if you were looking at it dead on. Yeah, the XR, I guess in comparison, it's relatively cheap because they've had, you know, the XS and the 11, and then the next one is coming out, and they release them every year. Um, I tend to use my phone until the wheels fall off, so to speak. So I won't be jumping on board with the next one. To be honest, when I do, you know, get new cell phones or whatever, the first thing I look for is the camera specs because I have to be able to take photos. You know, especially doing this, I'd like to try to get one with like the best camera specs. So depending on what's out there next, I might not even go for the iPhone, to be honest. Yeah, they're in kind of a straight line, so they follow an arc in the sky. So so you would be able to see kind of in that line. You would be able to see Jupiter and Saturn, and then a little bit later in the evening, much later in the evening, I should say, around 2 a.m. or so, you should be able to start to spot Mars. And then during, you know, just before sunrise, you'll be able to see Venus. I am using the iPhone XR. But if you have a cell phone mount, and I want to stress this, if you have a cell phone mount, um, the camera, I mean, the quality matters, but you should still be able to get an image with your phone. So even if it's an older phone, you know, if it's an iPhone 6, if you have something mounted to the telescope, you'll still be able to get an image. So I don't want anybody to be discouraged about the phone. Yeah, and that's LG. LG does allow you to play with everything. The white balance, the shutter, the aperture, all of it. And I've started to rethink my options, as it were. I do use the Nightcap app, but I would like to have that all built into the proprietary camera. So I'm starting to rethink my options in terms of what my next move for phones might be. Let's see, I got two questions here. Whew. It is a little hot out here, guys. I'm not gonna lie to you. Sorry, I'm trying to bring this up just a little bit more. It's like fighting me. There we go. Oh no, too bright, or too high. There we go. My apologies, all the shaky shaky. Just trying to bring this image back into the center here. Whew. What is the best telescope? That is completely subjective. That is, so there are some folks that find go-to telescopes, like the one that I'm using, they find those to be the best. Not necessarily. It really depends on what you're looking for in a telescope. Go-to is nice in that you program it once or twice and you're fine for the rest of the night. But if you wanted a more manual telescope, I tend to lean more toward Dobsonian telescopes. I find those to be incredibly good in terms of portability and light gathering, and they're super lightweight and they are very inexpensive as far as telescopes go. So yeah, what is the best telescope is super subjective. My best advice is to go to a star party if you can. If you can make it to a star party, I don't know about now with COVID, but if you're able to go to a star party, if you're able to join an astronomy club in your area, ask around. If you could go to a star party, look through different telescopes to see what looks best to you. And then you also have to think about portability. You have to think about, where are you going to keep the telescope now that you have it. So these are the things that I like to bring up first before thinking about what kind of telescope or adding a telescope to my list. Is where am I going to keep it? How much does it cost? What can I do with it? What does it weigh? How portable is it? Outside of that, another power. Well, not another power line. It's that same power line. It's going to run right into the moon is setting in front or behind the power lines. There's not much I can do about it now. But yes, oh yeah, binoculars is also good too. If you're not sure about what telescope to use, start with a pair of binoculars and get a tripod that you can mount them to, and that would be a good way to start. And then once you get a feel for that, definitely then start dipping your toes into telescopes. Completely subjective question. And then in terms of binoculars, which pair of binoculars is best? I have a very inexpensive pair of Tasco binoculars. They're 12 by 50, and I love them, and I'm not changing them for anything. So yeah, so I use Tasco binoculars. They're great. I've had them for 8 years almost, and they work just fine. Yeah, these power lines it's cutting off the moon, gang. Let's see. No, of course, absolutely. Yeah, I've had my binoculars for about 8 years. This telescope just had its 5th birthday about a week ago. So I don't I tend to not purchase equipment very often, because as long as you purchase good equipment the first time, it will last. And then of course taking care of it. So this telescope is about 5 years old. I did recently, and when I say recently, about 3 or 4 months ago, I did purchase a new telescope that I use for some live streams, and I've used exactly once, getting out of the city. But it'll be maybe another 5 years before I purchase another telescope. Unless it's something that I don't already have. I purchase more accessories for my telescopes than I do telescopes. Yeah, the moon got a haircut. And there's another, I'm sure you all can see it now, creeping into view, another power line. I have done solar observing with a filter, and it is very important that if you do not have a dedicated solar telescope, that you use a filter on your regular telescope. You should never, ever, and I cannot stress this enough, never look at the sun without a filter on your telescope. The sun will cook your eyeball in 20 seconds. It does not take very long for the sun to burn out your retina. So you should never ever look at the sun naked eye or without a proper eye protection. And the same goes for your telescope. Always have a filter on your telescope. Right now there is a sunspot on the sun. It's not very large, but it's as large as the Earth. I say it's not very large. It's a little bit larger than the Earth. I haven't had a chance to view it because it's been so cloudy here. But hopefully in the next couple of days I'll be able to pop out and just take a look, because sunspots are far and few between nowadays. All right, so Instagram is going to kick me off in a minute and 16 seconds. So I do want to thank everybody for tuning in. Of course, yes, you all are getting a live stream of the moon's haircut. I do want to thank everybody for popping in tonight. I really appreciate it. You guys have been great over the last few months, just tuning in, asking questions. I love every second of it. And I just appreciate you all tuning in when you tune in. So I will post another event, possibly tomorrow. It'll be on the calendar with more details. And, we just have to cross our fingers for clear skies, of course. And so thank you so much. In the meantime and in between time, clear skies and keep looking up.